All right, back on a Young Turks postgame. I will save the MAGA hat story. It's okay. You know what? We'll throw in Colorado stories for you guys. Because I forgot to give them to Mary. I'll give them to Mary now because I got a bunch of bitsies for you guys. So don't miss the behind the scenes of me snowmobiling. Okay, so super fun, but it hasn't dropped yet for you guys, for you members, but it will in a little bit. Okay, so we'll save that in a sec. But I love the Charlie Kirk story, so let's do that first.
Yes. So one of Charlie Kirk's friends, someone who also works with him at Turning Point USA, had tweeted a photo of Charlie Kirk, and the tweet said the following: "I'm with my buddy Charlie Kirk in Los Angeles, who was rushed to the hospital for a potential blood clot. He threw out his back and can't stand, and the hospital said there are no beds available and suggested he lay on a bench outside. Cedars-Sinai Hospital, disgrace." Okay, so let me just start off by saying that I'm skeptical of all of this. There is a possibility that he hurt his back. It appears he was at the hospital. How would he know whether or not he has a blood clot? That's a weird thing to assume or suspect. But nonetheless, the idea that a hospital would tell him to just go sit outside because they don't have any room for him seems questionable. With that said though, if this did happen, I just want to remind Charlie Kirk that healthcare is not a right. And that's not something that I believe. It's something that Charlie Kirk believes. I also want to remind Charlie Kirk about what he values in life and the way he chooses to live his life. In fact, I'm gonna have Charlie Kirk remind Charlie Kirk.
I live like a capitalist every single day, Cenk. I live as a capitalist, okay? I live what I believe.
Well, look, to be fair to Charlie, he lived like a capitalist that day. He likes his private healthcare system. He thinks it's not a right. And so, okay, great. Didn't take it out to the parking lot, brother. Welcome to capitalism.
Yeah, so I'm gonna read you some tweets from Charlie Kirk in just a minute. But before we go any further, he seems to be doing well. There was a follow-up tweet saying that he's doing better. He can't stand, but he stands for freedom. He didn't say that. He should have enjoyed his
freedom. No, that's what that Kyle guy tweeted. Well, then he should have enjoyed his freedom in the parking lot. Healthcare's not a right, brother. He says, healthcare, the rights come from God. Okay. Well, then where was God? Why did he leave you out there on that bench suffering like that?
Yeah.
And why did you even need Cedars-Sinai? Why don't you just handle it with God?
So
just pray over it.
I want to just give you some tweets. Charlie Kirk has a little bit of a record in commenting on healthcare. He is very much against universal healthcare coverage. And during a debate that Bernie Sanders had, I believe with Ted Cruz about healthcare, Kirk tweeted the following: "Hey Bernie Sanders, healthcare is not a right and never should be. Rights come from God, not government." Hashtag CNN debate. Okay.
Hashtag parking lot.
All right, well. Under that logic, you have absolutely no right to be treated by Cedars-Sinai. Cedars-Sinai can make any decision it wants. It should be able to practice its freedom in pushing you out to the parking lot on a bench.
And hey, look, if you believe in those libertarian principles, then next time you have a blood clot, don't go to Cedars-Sinai, go to another hospital. If it's too far away, you died, but that'll teach Cedars-Sinai, other people won't go to it.
Yeah, hopefully you can write a negative Yelp review about Cedars-Sinai as you're on your way to the other hospital before anything else bad happens to you. That way, the free market can really decide who to favor. Okay. One other tweet, real quick. The United States has the best healthcare system in the world. We just need to make it cost less via competition and choice.
Well, in LA, you got a lot of choices. You can go to a lot of different hospitals. UCLA is wonderful. I think Cedars-Sinai is actually wonderful, etc. So you made your bed, or in this case, you made your park bench. So live in it, brother. Live like a capitalist every single day, including the days where you have back problems. Okay, so now look, we're kidding around because he's okay. If he wasn't okay, obviously this wouldn't be a laughing matter. And we're progressives. We actually care that he gets healthcare. We do think it's a right, and we think that if you got a real serious issue, you should definitely get healthcare. And we're not going to leave you out in a parking lot to suffer in pain. So that's the whole point of universal healthcare. And so, it doesn't look like he had a blood clot. It looks like he had a back problem.
How would he know if he has a blood clot? What are you now? You're a doctor? Like,
so, Doogie Howser 2.0.
These kids.
Charlie Howser. Anyway, so he's okay. Otherwise, it wouldn't be funny, right? So now having gotten past that, look, I actually think Cedars-Sinai is a fantastic hospital. Do you have to sometimes wait a good amount of time in an emergency room? Yes, you do, and everybody on the planet knows that. But again, it's right-wing privilege, right? Like he's like, what do you mean? I live like a capitalist. I should go in before other people. But Charlie, there's also other people that are waiting in the emergency room. So what are we supposed to do with them? Why should you go in first? Well, I think I have a blood clot. Okay, well that's like your opinion, man. But the nurse presumably checked you out. If you notice in the picture, he already has a wristband. So he's actually already talked to someone, et cetera, right? So, he got triggered by that. And I get it, he's in a lot of pain. But at the same time, where do you have the privilege that you should step ahead of other people? And then the second part of the hypocrisy is, well, I thought you said privatized healthcare was awesome. We have privatized healthcare. All of a sudden, it doesn't seem so awesome. And they complain that, oh my God, if you have universal healthcare, there'll be lines. Guess what? We have lines now, right? I went to that same emergency room with my kid, and that was a devastating situation. And we had to wait and wait and wait and wait. And it's not universal healthcare. It's not Medicare for all. And in that privatized system, you have to wait a long time to even get emergency care. And if you want to get a doctor's appointment, you also have to wait really long for that. So it's not like, oh yeah, man, if we did socialized medicine, it'd be like Venezuela and you have to wait all this time and blah, blah, blah. No, Charlie, as you saw, in this system, you have to wait a long time. And in this system, they don't care about you.
I just found it fascinating that he and his friend are looking for sympathy when we have a real debate in this country about tens of millions of Americans who can't afford life-saving care, life-saving care that they need. They can't afford life-saving medications. And the conversation coming from his side of the political aisle is, healthcare is not a right, sorry. Well, you have no empathy for others when it comes to this scenario. So why would you look for empathy yourself, right?
Yeah, and that is right-wing 101. If it happens to other people, tough luck, bootstraps, okay? You write a Yelp review, right? So when it happens to them, oh my God, it's my back, it's my back, it's my back. I don't care about you. Me, I'm in pain. I need to cut the line. I need to go ahead in front of everybody. Oh my God, healthcare needs to be a right. I have a right to go in there. Why won't they take me? I have a right to go in there. And all of a sudden they need a safe space and they cry and cry and cry because for one time it affected their privileged lives. And he must have been crying out, Republican donors, why have you forsaken me?
Yeah, my favorite response to that tweet was when life comes at you real quick. Someone says something along those lines. Because when you're young and you think you're untouchable and you're not plagued with the very adult problem of not having the right healthcare or medical treatment, whatever, it's easy to talk a big talk. But wait till you find yourself in a position where you need that care and you don't get it, or you don't get it in the way you want it. Life will come at you real quick.
Yeah, my favorite reaction on Twitter to it was mine. I just retweeted the picture saying, Charlie Kirk living like a capitalist every day.
Cenk.
Hey, capitalism doesn't care about you, man. And look, I'm a capitalist, so it's ironic, right? And so I believe that everything's actually a mixed economy. That's not a belief, that's reality, right? So Norway's a mixed economy, we're a mixed economy. Some things are public, some things are private. But I like our balance, except for healthcare, which I think is like the cops and the fire department. It's necessary for us to protect our lives. And so I have that in the public category, but I don't have jeans or sneakers in the public category. I have that in the private category. So in fact, my beliefs are very similar to what is incredibly successful in Northern Europe. Charlie doesn't like to use the examples of Norway, Sweden, Finland, etc. He likes to use the example of only Venezuela, right? When that's obviously not the right balance either, right? So, but the minute it affects him, all of a sudden he's crying out for mercy. And What progressives do is we fight for everybody, not just for ourselves. So yes, healthcare is a right, and we should all have it because it's about our lives.
I'm okay with not fighting as aggressively for him, though. I'm just putting it out there.
No, Charlie, I'll fight for you.
Oh, come on.
I live like a progressive every day, Charlie. All right. Okay, now my fun MAGA story, okay? So I'm getting on a plane at the airport, and I see a guy in a MAGA hat, and he already looks weird. Now, not everybody who wears a MAGA hat looks weird.
Wrong.
You guys think they do? Okay, that might be a little biased, but he's got a weird mustache, and he hasn't policed it, and he's wearing like a camouflage MAGA hat, and he looks shifty. Okay, maybe those were my biases. I don't know, but and it turns out he's on my flight. I'm like, okay, great, okay, but no big deal. It's a big flight, and what's gonna happen on a flight? And then it turns out he's sitting right in front of me. Okay, now he didn't recognize me, and I have no reason to believe that he knows me at all. Okay, so it had nothing to do with me. That's my point. Okay, and he didn't get in a fight with me, and it has nothing to do with politics, etc. He immediately got into a fight with a woman sitting next to him.
About what?
Like about how they put in their luggage, their carry-ons. And he was, like, I don't remember the details, but he was outrageously unreasonable. And then, oh, this is the best part, I'd almost forgotten. And he says, well, I'm from here, I don't know where you're from, because you got an accent.
Okay, so.
I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't believe it. I mean, you want to talk about a stereotype, living, breathing fucking stereotype of a MAGA dude.
Okay.
Right, and by the way, I don't know, from her accent, what do I don't know either, but she sounded like she was European, right? But it doesn't matter, you got an accent, I'm from here, I don't know where you're from.
God, okay, so look, this further proves the point that I was trying to make during the main show today. People who go out of their way to wear that hat are looking for trouble. Like they're looking for, they put it on knowing that it will increase trouble by at least 75%, right? It's like, oh, this is my trouble hat. I'm gonna put it on because I want attention. I want to antagonize people. I want to get into some sort of, verbal spat with someone, maybe even a physical altercation. Like they put it on knowing what it does and what it means and what it messages and signals to everyone else. They're just looking for trouble, man. They're just so, like, you need a friend. Go make a friend, go have some fun, have a brewski, right? Like, why are they so desperate for that type of human interaction? I don't get it. This is one of the reasons why, look, I love a lot of our shirts on the TYT store. And every time I think about putting one on, I think to myself, this might spark a conversation that I just don't wanna have. So that's why I don't wear them.
Now, look, for you guys who are obviously looking forward to going to shoptyt.com, so it depends. So I told you a story in another post game that I wore like Resist the 45th or one of the shirts that we have to Malibu one day, and it's weird. I had like this premonition, not premonition, but just based on previous experience that, like, for whatever reason, I think that might be like a wealthy enclave. Gee, I wonder why I would think that about Malibu. Anyway, but Malibu is generally progressive, right? They're wealthy but progressive. But I had that sense from the place we were going that there might be wealthy Trump supporters there, right? And boom, yeah, some guy picked a fight with me, right? And I had my kids around, and like they almost got hit by this giant sun umbrella, right? And then he starts making fun of us.
Oh, I remember you telling this story.
And it got heated. But I didn't mean to provoke them. I would tell you that as the outlier story. 99 out of 100 times, people are like, awesome shirt, right? And in fact, Adam Green, head of PCCC, just sent us a video. He was wearing his TYT hat somewhere in the middle of the country. And somebody's like, oh, you watch Young Turks? I watch Young Turks. And he's like, oh, I've been on Young Turks. They're like, whoa. And then Adam did a video of them he sent to me that I just showed Anna, of them saying, oh, I love the Young Turks, especially Anna Kasparian. She's woke.
Like that.
What else did he say? You're with the movement.
He said that I'm politically minded, and then there was one other thing, but I forget. Yeah, it was fun.
So I think 9.5 out of 10 times you're gonna get a positive reaction and maybe bond with somebody. But yeah, you should be conscious of where you're wearing it. I hear you. Like if you wear the grope t-shirt we have where Trump's like this and it says grope on it and you wear it into the middle of, Ojeda's district, which is very, very conservative in West Virginia, right? Then that's kind of your way of going, ha ha, right back at you.
Yeah,
right?
and I remember one time I was at Ralph's with John Idarola and he was wearing the Bitchy Rich shirt that has like Trump's face on it and everything.
Were you guys getting pie?
I think we were actually. I think we were getting banana cream pie. Anyway, but yeah, a woman approached him and she seemed offended by it and she asked like, well, what is that supposed to mean? And I don't remember what I said to her, but I like jumped in and got super salty with her and then she walked away. And I'm like, this is why I don't wear political stuff. And then there's, every once in a while you'll see someone driving like a giant truck that has 1 billion Trump stickers on it. And I give them dirty looks.
Yeah, it's
because that's what they want. That's what they want.
I hear you, but I'm wondering if we're biased, and I don't think so. But let's talk it through for a second. To be fair to me, I don't think I'm biased. So no, seriously, I see a lot of cars in LA, and I was just in Colorado. Bernie and Coexist and tons of bumper stickers about the progressive movement. Is that their way of saying, giving the conservatives a middle finger? I don't think so.
No, it's not.
I think they're proud to be Bernie supporters.
Look, okay, so it's not that they're looking for trouble because Trump is a Republican or a political figure, right? If someone had, I don't know, a Mitt Romney bumper sticker, I'd be like, whatever. It wouldn't even faze me. I wouldn't even think about it, right? It's what Trump symbolizes. He is a divisive person, a divisive character. And so when someone goes out of their way to not just show support for Trump, but have like Trump memorabilia all over themselves, all over their cars, they're trying to signal something to you. It's like they want to provoke. That's what they're doing, right? It's very different from a Coexist or Bernie sticker. Like Bernie is not a divisive figure.
Well, it's hard for Coexist to be divisive.
Well, some people might find out.
But people probably do think that, but I mean, by definition, it's meant not to be divisive. It's meant for us to coexist. But yeah, I hear you. It's almost like wearing a Dick Cheney hat. Like you're going out of your way a little bit to be like, yeah, I'm with the torturer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Trump's president, so it's a little definitely different. And Bernie is such a non-offensive person.
Yeah.
Like, so you could think like the right wing and all of Washington and almost all of the Democratic Party, like, oh, that guy's ideas won't work, right? But you don't think, well, Bernie hates me. Unless you're a super weirdo, nobody thinks that.
And think about the number of, I mean, they're two completely different people, but think about how many Trump supporters said that they would have voted for Bernie, right? And it's because of the economic message coming from Bernie that Trump, also tried to spread, but didn't really believe in.
So yeah, I'm gonna not get these numbers exactly right, except for one of them. So just bear with me, and if you want to look it up online yourself, that'd be great too. But it was a great look at the numbers of Bernie voters that then voted for Trump. So first of all, the number I'm sure of is Hillary Clinton voters that voted for John McCain was an astounding 25%.
What?
Astounding.
What?
Yes. So now that never got talked about, partly because Obama won, so it wasn't as relevant, but partly because the establishment loves Hillary Clinton, so they didn't want to emphasize that a full quarter of our voters that voted for her over Obama in the primary then switched over and voted for McCain. Okay.
Wow.
And so there was no talk of unity back then. In fact, there was talk of unity, and if you remember, some of the Hillary Clinton followers are called Pumas. You remember what Puma stands for? Party unity, my ass. Okay, so now I believe the Bernie Sanders numbers, I know the Bernie Sanders numbers were dramatically lower of Sanders voters that voted for Trump. I believe it was around 12%, but 9% were actually Republican voters that had switched over because they liked Bernie's message so much. And in the general election, they're like, fuck that, I'm not voting for Hillary, I hate her message. And they went back and voted for the Republican. But they would have voted for the Democrat because they bothered to go into the primaries and vote for Bernie. And it wasn't like some sort of false flag operation, et cetera. It was a big chunk of people. I think it was, again, these are the numbers to not quote me on, but about 9% were Republicans who actually liked Bernie's message that much that they voted for him in the primaries. And then, so he had actually brought in Republicans as opposed to Hillary Clinton, who had Democrats flee to the Republicans back in 2008.
You guys, like, everything is a blur and a whirlwind. Her slogan was "I'm with her." Like
it's amazing. Amazing.
Like, so many crazy things happened in that election that I totally ignored and discounted her slogan and how ridiculous it was. Her slogan was all about her. I'm with her.
Yeah.
At a time when there are deep economic frustrations in the country, I'm with her.
Yeah, but that was the mindset. Look, I know the ostensible reason they did it. They wanted to emphasize it would be the first female president, so I'm with her, right? But one, they view everything through identity politics, and they use it as a weapon. And so it's not like, I mean, Hillary Clinton was perfectly fine on women's rights issues, but it was meant to emphasize, hey, I'm a woman and the others are not. So let's just keep it real on that, okay? But what it accidentally did was tell people what their real ethos was. And the ethos is, and the Clintons had an enemies list. That's real. So, and
yeah,
I'll be mortified if I'm not on it.
I'm pretty sure you're on it.
So I'm pretty sure I'm on it. And so
I wonder if Jimmy's on it.
I was gonna say, like, if Jimmy's not on it, they didn't do their homework, okay? And the Clintons usually do their homework.
Yeah.
So so if you weren't with her, you were gonna be punished. And if you were with her, you were gonna get rewarded. So it was literally like their way of thinking, and they put into a slogan: "I'm with her," and the part they left out is "or else," right? And you better be too, right?
Yeah.
So. But I keep emphasizing this. This is my now new warpath. Like, the mainstream media also lives in alternative facts.
Yeah.
The facts I quoted you are real. They see those facts and they go, no, Bernie Sanders voters, betrayed the Democratic Party.
Yeah, they cost them the election.
And they cost Hillary the election.
Yeah, I did not know 25% of Hillary Clinton's voters ended up voting for John McCain. That's insane.
Yeah. And to be fair to the mainstream media, they sometimes do have people that sneak in there and do some wonderful work. I feel bad because I forgot his name, but he's written a bunch of great articles about this, and it was in the Washington Post. So those stats are from the Washington Post, okay? So, all right, anyways, all right, and then now finally, let me just give you guys a couple of updates on the trip. So I went to New York for business. So the only interesting part of that was I went to People's Fundraiser for Know Me, and it was jam-packed in the middle of Queens, okay? And it was a bar, they had some wonderful drinks, by the way. And I don't know, well over 100 Young Turks fans in there and Know Me fans. So that was great, it was great. And people gave me nice notes, which I read, thank you, I really appreciated it. They had a lot of love for you. They mentioned Haas a couple of times. Francis showed up. Like I forgot to call Francis, and Francis at the bar. I'm like, that's awesome, right? All my rowdy friends. And it just felt really warm and wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people in that public advocate race and a lot of posers, right? Pretending to be progressive. But Nomi's not playing. Nomi, again, has outflanked me on the left. She's arguing for a $30 minimum wage. I'm like, I mean, wow.
She's in New York. I know that might sound crazy in some parts of the country, but in New York, it's not crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, please support Nomi Khan if you're in New York for public advocate. And so that went great. And so then I went to Colorado with the guys, not for business. And so we do a guys trip every year for MLK weekend. And that's where I've got the behind the scenes footage that I'm gonna show you guys of me looking ridiculous in a snowmobile outfit with my goggles and my all my paraphernalia on. Anyways, but it's gorgeous out there, man. I was telling Edward, actually, Denver itself is surprisingly ungorgeous. It's just okay, right? But the rest of Colorado is like, it's what you expect out of Colorado, right? The Colorado is who we thought they were, okay? And it just, we went into the mountains to do the snowmobiling. Every single scene was like a picture out of a postcard. And I love the cold because I don't have to live in it. So it was just like momentary?
Yeah, I don't want to live in it. I was just thinking like Colorado's a lot more affordable than LA. Like I started thinking about like making moves, but no, I can't. Did you know that like a couple people died from avalanches over the weekend?
Really?
No, snow is the enemy. Like we stay away from the snow, okay?
We've gone over this before. People who wish against the snow, there's something a little wrong with that.
No, disagree.
Okay. When it started snowing in Denver, it was gorgeous. When it snowed in the mountains, if you get high enough in Colorado, you'll white out. Okay, and that's actually literal. If you go high up enough in the mountains as it's snowing, it'll be a whiteout, and you won't be able to see in front of you. We didn't get a full whiteout, but we got a partial whiteout, so it was hard to see because of all the snow and the conditions.
That sounds great.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was awesome. Anyway, we also went tubing in the middle of the night. You know what that is?
Nope.
No, that's when you get on the tubes and you slide down the mountain.
Oh, okay.
So we were just totally goofing around. 7 guys holding on to each other while tubing. We live like a progressive every day, Charlie. Okay. We're such goofballs because we all got into The Last Kingdom on Netflix. Have you watched that at all?
No, but I'm gonna start.
Yeah.
I heard good things about it.
So we all decided we were different characters, or actually one guy was Alfred the King, and so Alfred decided who the characters were gonna be. Okay, and Steve O was the guy who got everybody into it, so he demanded to be Uhtred, son of Uhtred, which is the main character. Like, yeah, that's convenient. Anyway, so I decided I was gonna be Ragnar the Fearless. A little bit of a spoiler, okay, but he's only in the first episode and he burns alive, but he kills like 3 people while burning to death. So everywhere I went, I'd be like, ah, like Ragnar's last scene, where he's killing 3 different dudes while on fire. And by the way, that is how I will go out. Okay, I don't know when or how. I mean, I don't know when, but I do know how. Okay, so anyway. So that was super fun, and then so the reason I brought that up is as we're tubing, we're yelling out slogans from Last Kingdom because we're children. We're like shield wall, right? They do shield walls, but we did it with our tubes. And as we're holding on to each other's tubes as we're going down, we're going, hold the wall, hold the wall.
Such a dork. Wow.
We are enormous dorks.
Yeah.
And then, on Sunday were playoff games, right? But before the playoff games, we decided that we were going to go curling. You know that sport?
With the sweep. You guys are sweeping.
So right? And then you sweep. Come on, how fun is this? To actually be free spirits and not give a damn what anybody thinks.
Yes, that's the best. That's the best. I'm glad you're living. You're feeling things.
You know what that is? That's called freedom. Okay, and so I learned how to curl. And
it's what Charlie Kirk stands up for.
That's right. So of course, as usual, Dave Kohler was the best. He always is. Okay. So his character was Father Bioka. So if you know Dave, you're like, oh, right, okay. So anyway, so we would have him say a prayer before anything we did. He would do grace, okay? Like when we were out on the mountains, he demanded a 30-second moment of silence. And I thought it was because he was playing the character of Father Bioka. Later, he's like, no, I just wanted to enjoy the woods. Okay, and so I went back, and when I came home and I watched curling with the kids on YouTube just to show them what we were doing. I'm like, this is curling, right? And I realized that Dave was the only one doing it right. Like we were using the stick and stuff because we're amateurs. He would just slide in like they do in TV, like and just let the curl go. I don't know if it's called a curl, but still.
And then at what point do the men aggressively sweep?
Well, that we figured out right away because if it's going long, don't sweep because that makes the ice smoother and it'll go even longer, right? But if it's going to be short, sweep to get it to the circle that you're trying to get it into.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? Those curlers must have the cleanest floors in their home.
Yeah, man, they got strong wrists. Get on the sweeping, right? Anyways, then we went and actually watched the football games, and they were spectacular. I mean, there was a lot of controversy and injustice in there. My neighbors from Louisiana, as I've told you, like that's the one. Like, if you come for me, he's gonna come for you. And Mark's the last guy you'll ever see. Anyway, so Mark's a huge Saints fan. He in fact had an American flag made of the Saints colors, and instead of stars, it has the Saints logo. Yeah, what do we call that? Yeah, it's anyway. You guys all know what I'm talking about. And I saw him taking it down this yesterday, and I'm like, I'm sorry, brother. I had money on the Rams. So okay, I wasn't that sorry because I had money on the Rams, but I did feel bad because he's really emotional about it.
Yeah.
And he was positive the game was rigged. Like that's all over the internet. They rigged it so the Rams would play the Patriots, LA versus the East Coast, and the Patriots, the legendary team, etc.
Don't they cheat though, the Patriots?
Yeah.
Like Spygate, Deflategate, all the gates.
So in the second game, the calls went in both directions, but there was frustrating moments where you're like, oh, come on, don't give everything to the Patriots. They already have, like, it's too much. Like when they called a roughing the passer on Tom Brady because somebody looked at him.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Right? That was not roughing the passer. It wasn't roughing the passer by a mile, right? But some calls did go against the Patriots. It wasn't as bad as the Rams-Saints game. Look, you can make the argument for the Saints. You still could have won. You still had overtime. You still had a lot of other opportunities. But if they make the right call on the pass interference against the Rams, the Saints win the game, no question. So anyway, but we had a ton of fun, and we played poker and all these different things. So do that. You do a trip. It's just a couple of days. Couple of days with your friends if you can. Go somewhere, do goofy things, act like children. Enjoy life a little bit.
Yes, definitely.
All right. God bless, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.